All right, the longtime stunt double for Bruce Willis talks about what he noticed recently in the weeks before Bruce Willis's family announced that he has a brain condition that makes it tough to communicate.
A new CNN podcast, Very Scary People, the Amityville Murders. Listen on Apple Podcasts.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother...
That line, right? Bruce Willis has taken a break from acting because he's suffering from what's called aphasia. It's a condition that affects your ability to communicate, according to the Mayo Clinic. So his family shared the news on social media yesterday. And Melissa, now people are kind of talking about their recent experience with him and his ability to communicate. Good morning.
Good morning. But the rest of us who don't personally know Bruce Willis would not have known that he was struggling with this, but his family announced it yesterday. Most of Hollywood was left reeling, especially people who knew him best, though, and that includes the actor's longtime stunt double, Stuart Wilson. He told The Sun that Willis had noticeably changed over the past year. He said Willis seemed sidetracked when you would talk to him and how you would wonder if other things were going on. He also added that he last saw Willis just 2 weeks ago, and he looked a little leaner. Actor Rob Goe opened up about filming American Siege with Willis in November, which may be like one of his final movies. He posted this picture of the two of them on set on Instagram. In an interview with People magazine, Goe said Willis was helpful to him and others during filming, and that Willis would give advice just on a whim, saying it was so profound. Other celebrities were quick to express their love and support to the Willis family. His Glass co-star, Sarah Paulson, described Willis as being the loveliest, most gentle and hilarious man, and that he reigns supreme. And Seth Green tweeted that he was grateful for every character he's given us and thanked his family for sharing him.
Okay, so what is aphasia? Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta is a neurosurgeon too, as you know. So in aphasia, how does it impact your ability to communicate?
Well, this can be sort of a broad impact on communication, and we don't know a lot of the details specifically about what he's experiencing, but when we talk about communication overall, Robin, that's your ability to speak, but perhaps also your ability to write, like how you express yourself. It can also impact your ability to process, to intake speech and writing. So it's really, communication is sort of a more general term, I think, than sometimes people realize. It can be caused by different areas of the brain, can be impacted by things like a stroke or tumor or a head injury. We don't know that he's had any of those things, but that's oftentimes what it's caused by. It could be something more progressive, like a type of dementia, for example. And depending on what's causing it, how severe it is, sometimes it will respond to some degree to speech training, speech pathology training. That's something that can be helpful, depending again on the cause. But let me show you really quickly, Robin, this brain image here to give you an idea. This is, you're looking at the brain. The Broca's areas is closer to the front of the brain. The Wernicke's is the back of the brain. If someone has some issues with Broca's area, that typically affects their ability to express themselves. Again, speak, write. If they are speaking, typically it's nonsensical. With Wernicke's, something that affects the back of the brain, that's, again, the understanding, the intaking of communication. They may be fluent in their speech, but the truth is they're not really understanding or comprehending what people are telling them or showing them through the written word. So again, we don't know. That's a lot to take in, I realize, Robin, but we don't know specifically what kind of aphasia he has, what's causing it. But those types of things would be directing his doctors in terms of what they're doing for him.
Well, how would you know that it's aphasia? Like, how do you even determine that's what it is? It's not like you can get inside the brain and look at it.
No, it's a clinical exam. I mean, it's very specific. You'll have all sorts of different tests that you can do. You can hold up objects, for example, common objects, have someone try to name those objects. Simply having a conversation with somebody, it may be clear that they're not understanding, they're not comprehending, or what they're hearing of your spoken voice is nonsensical to them. So sometimes it can take a while, and we don't know in Bruce Willis's case if it progressed over time or it came on more suddenly. If it came on more suddenly, it would be more suggestive of something like a stroke. If it came on over time, maybe it's a slow-growing process of some sort. Again, we don't know, but it's a clinical exam. You can do a scan of the brain to try and figure out, is there evidence of some sort of problem in those two areas of the brain I just showed you, and that in conjunction with the clinical exam gives you a pretty good idea what you're dealing with.
Warning, this podcast contains references to ghosts, demons, and a grisly mass murder. This is the story of the Amityville murders. A story you may have heard, but never like this. I'm your host, Donnie Wahlberg, and this is Very Scary People. Listen on Spotify.
And Murder, a special 2-hour season premiere, starts Sunday, April 24th at 10 on HLN.